Today I'm going to be discussing the importance of providing feedback for students in the classroom. Feedback is important to receive in learning. By giving students feedback on their learning, teachers can show them how they are achieving in relation to their learning goals. This can be done in various ways. One such way is by giving students specific feedback on either a newly learnt skill or where they are knowledge-wise, such as in an assignment or in a test. And you do this by using a range of targeted feedback strategies, such as formative or summative feedback, which aim to progress a student's understanding of a topic and by pointing out their strengths and weaknesses in addition to encouraging improvement. Other forms of feedback like grades, standards, examples show students where they are in their learning and like what level of achievement they have, but by having informative feedback, it shows them where they need to aim for and how to improve upon their achievements and in their learning. I know feedback is particularly important because it influenced my own years as a student. During my school years, I was someone that enjoyed learning, and I still do. And I did well in school in general, but when it came to feedback on how I did, in my schoolwork, I received generalizations and maybe the bare bones in comments in regards to my strengths, my weaknesses, and how to improve. I received these type of feedback comments for several years during my schooling career before a memorable lesson in my Year 10 Legal Studies class. It was during a lesson where myself and my peers were working on a final draft for a piece of assessment. When my teacher, who was talking to everyone in the class, called me up to discuss my draft. I expected him to just sit me down, tell me what was wrong with it, and then put me back in my seat to fix it. Where he didn't do that. In reality, he sat me down and we went through the entirety of my draft. This meant that we actually discussed the topic I had picked for my assignment and we went over it in detail. We talked about how well I'd followed the assessment rubric, how I related the topic to the assessment rubric, and how well the two clicked. Then we also covered my assignment outline, the structure that I had followed, the grammatical mistakes that I had made, and we also went over my bibliography set out, and we improved upon that. This type of in-detail breakdown of my assignment was foreign to me. I was accustomed to my teachers telling me where I'd gone wrong and then how to fix it. But this particular teacher, he went beyond what I was used to. He actually explained to me what was wrong with my assignment, where he didn't understand this part, how I could improve upon it, how to reword it, and he gave me examples on how to do that. So this type of formative feedback was so different from what I was used to, and it made me aware of how badly my previous teachers had let me down in regards to providing me with informative feedback. It was from that point on that I became aware of how important feedback is to a student and how well they can improve upon some structural feedback given to them, and not just some comments at the end of a draft or a report. So this epiphany in regards to the importance of feedback, I continue to have, and I seek it out in my academic work and in practical lessons. So as a future teacher, I aim to have this type of approach in giving feedback to my own students, as I'm personally aware of how important giving feedback is for students, and they need to have that type of communication. This type of open communication, it would improve relations between the teacher and student. It would give the student insight on where their strengths are, where their weaknesses are, and how they can improve. And then where you as their teacher would help them improve upon that. This type of feedback also gives them an understanding of where they are and how they need to improve to get their education goals. So providing students with feedback means that I would need to have not only a clear, appropriate and positive line of verbal communication open with them, but I would also need to be able to communicate this non-verbally through positive facial expressions, body language and gestures. Providing feedback also relates to my teacher's identity, as having open lines of communication shows the respect and care I would have for my students. As a teacher, communication is very important, and we need to have that to successfully fill the role. The AITSL, or the Australian Institute for Teaching and School Leadership, provides a framework to work with, And this standard I would particularly have would be standard 5, which is assess, provide, and feedback on and report on student learning.